The wildcard editor. In this example, we work with our letter. This letter got several placeholders: company, name, street, city, state and zip code, and image. When you've set up and imported your InDesign document, you will see the placeholders appear on the left side. In this case, we got the 5 placeholders from our letter. Turning a placeholder into a wildcard is nothing more than telling MySerializer how to fill the placeholders. To do so, just double-click the empty space right next to your placeholder. Let's start with company. If I double-click this space, the wildcard editor will open up. Do you see this loading bar up here? This little loading bar shows that MySerializer imports some rows of your Excel document to give us a preview. MySerializer will automatically load these rows when entering the wildcard editor for the first time. Other than your InDesign document, you can change the content of your Excel file on the fly before you start the generation. If you want to reload it for preview issues, just click this little reload button. But don't forget, this is just a preview to make it easier to select the columns. The content doesn't really matter now, because it'll be finally imported on generation process. Let's start from the top. Here you can see your placeholder, company. You can select replace with text or replace with image. Replace with image is grayed out. We will have an example with images later. So select replace with text. My first placeholder is company, so I probably want to replace it with company from my Excel document. All I need to do is just double-click anywhere in the column. So MySerializer sets the column letter A, in this case, for the primary column. You can either write it by hand or double-click it. This means that my first document will receive MySerializer company, the next one second finance, and so on, depending on the start row you've chosen. Let's save this one for now. It gets more interesting when we come to the next one. Select the placeholder name and double-click the empty space to open the wildcard editor. Select replace with the text again. As we want to have a name, we can either set John, Weaver or Mr., which doesn't make any sense. Our name is split up in the salutation column, the last name and the first name column, so we need to combine them. For combining columns, just double-click them in the order you want. Mr. John Weaver in this case. So for every letter generated, it will receive the salutation, then the first name and then the last name. MySerializer automatically puts spaces between them. You can remove them, but it doesn't make any sense in this case. You don't have to worry about leading or ending white spaces in your Excel document. Sometimes you got a leading or ending white space in it, but we got an option for that in the settings. As you can see here, you can auto-delete leading and ending white spaces. Another setting here is the amount of preview rows imported. If I set it to 5 preview rows will import it, but don't forget, this raises the loading time. To demonstrate a special case, let's have a look in our Excel document. This is pretty small in this case. Excel can have 2 values in one cell. On the one hand, we got the result value. On the other hand, we got the formula. If I write equals 7 plus 3, the formula would be 7 plus 3 and the result would be 10. MySerializer imports the result by default. Let's check this by refreshing our preview. You now see the 10 down here. You remember I raised the preview rows in the setting. So if I select this column, MySerializer will import the result, which is 10. If you need the formula, just add an equal sign. And you'll see the result instantly. Back to the task. we've had our placeholder split it up. But sometimes one of these cells is empty, as you can see here. I don't have any salutation, I don't have any last name, and I don't have any first name. This will result in empty fields in the generated document. My serializer will send you a warning. You can do two things now. You can ignore these warnings in the settings, which will lead to the empty fields in your generated documents. The better way is to give my serializer an alternative, which kicks in if one of the cells in the columns B, D or C is empty. This function is available in the full version of my serializer only. It's not available in the free version. To activate the alternative setting down here, just click in it to activate it. Then work like usual. In our example, I will replace the combined name by a text. This means if either Mr., Weaver or John column B, D or C is empty, my serializer will automatically replace the name placeholder with to the management. You can see a preview down here if you toggle the Alt preview. By the way, you can combine columns with text whenever you want. Just make sure the column letters are in quotation marks. You see, it instantly adds column A, which is second finance here. Save your wildcard and close it. Now let's jump down to an image example. The little icon on the right tells you that your placeholder can be an image or text. The other ones are just text, so image was grayed out. Open the wildcard editor and select Replace with Image. You will see this button pop up. Usually you move your Excel files and your images around, so you don't have a path included in your Excel file. In this case, we only got the image names without a path. Let's have a look. You see my images are in column J and I just got the image name. So we can set the path here that my serializer finds our images. The alternative setting is useless here. Either you have an image or not. My serializer will check the existence of the files before generating your documents, so it doesn't matter if you forget that in the first. When you've set up all of your wildcards, select an export option and you're ready to go. In the free version, you can select Export to InDesign only.